Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be showing you the best Channel 18 army. Now, I know a lot of you guys, just like me, have been struggling to find an army that really works well at Channel 18, especially with these modifiers in the higher leagues. So today, I'm going to be talking about the army that I developed from Yada when he attacked me, and then from Stars, who's been he's had 5 accounts in the top 10, so insanely high, using an army very similar to this one. So I'm going to just quit talking. I'm going to explain to you how to use my Meteor Golem army. So on this first base, we're up against a double rage base. Now this one's pretty common, but again, like in the other armies that I've been talking about in my past videos, you're going to send your warden in onto this, one of those rage compartments to set that fireball up. Now the first thing you're going to see is that I'm running the Angry Jelly in my warden. Now what that's going to do is it's really going to help speed up the attack, and that actually makes that ice block. So the reason I have the ice block is just in case I want to launch the fireball earlier, like in this case where I use that, and I don't want to use the whole jelly just so I can have an easier fireball. But when you're using the angry jelly on the warden, that's going to actually make it so you don't really need an ice block if you use up the entire time of the angry jelly. Because as you can see, as soon as that happens, he's going to be surrounded by these garbage buildings. So that's basically going to take up the same amount of time as the ice block. Now, the first tip I have for you is don't spam in all of your Meteor Golems at the same time. You're going to want to use one or two to help path your warden in towards the direction you want. Then send one in towards the middle, and then send your queen behind that. And then send one or two off towards the right. And then that's going to help close off the funnel. And then king is going to go all the way onto the side just to make sure all of your Meteor Golems go in towards the base. And that's actually going to really help make sure everything starts moving in together. So I set the funnel on the left side with the fireball. Then everything slowly starts to move over towards the right. And that king is clearing out all of the garbage on the outside. So that means all of my troops are going to move in together. Now on this attack, I did make the biggest mistake you can with this army. And that is letting all of your healers die. So, I mean, I have an insane recovery on this one. But that's just because, playing this army super well makes it super powerful. So the best way to counter these rage bases is to use that overgrowth once the rage tower pops. What that's going to do is it's going to make it so all of those defenses that get the extra damage buffs with the rage tower, that's all negated by the overgrowth, since the time it takes for the overgrowth is going to be much longer than the time for the rage spell to wear off. So once you have that overgrowth wear off, I usually like to send in one of the totem spells, and what that's going to do, it's going to make it so, since my army's moving in towards that overgrowth, everything else is just going to be tanking, or getting tanked by the totem spell. So my army isn't really going to have any damage being done to it. And this was a really fast attack, even though all of my healers died. And I mean, super powerful with 3 of my heroes left at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the next one now. Okay, so now onto this attack. So this one is a Invis and Rage base. So pretty common style, however, not really, very good to run at the high legend area, just because the fireball value is so easy to get from it. And this Angry Jelly, it's going to make this fireball so much easier, just because if I was running this Sneezy, I would have to get through all of these garbage buildings, and I would probably have to use a rage spell and all of that. So this really just helps my warden move in towards the base. Now here, my warden does get really low, but I do get pretty lucky with the timings, and especially that headhunter. You do want to use those headhunters on your warden when those heroes are on the outside of the base. Now this is the biggest weakness to the Angry Jelly, and that's the skeleton traps. Just because when you have it, there's not really much damage helping the warden, so that really slows him down and ends up just wasting part of the Angry Jelly. Now in this one, I wasn't able to get a really good fireball, but I was able to get rid of one spell tower and then the clan castle, but I was aiming for that center building so I can get all of that at once. Alright, so here again, on this one it was a little more spammy just because I was so close to the corner, but I kept the same idea with 2 to help funnel my warden in, then 1 or 2 in the middle, and then 1 on the left, just so my king didn't walk in towards the base. And now everything's going to start funneling in. So your RC, you're going to mainly use your RC when, once your army is starting to tank. because if you send your RC by herself, she's really just going to die right away as soon as the Spirit Fox wears off. So that's probably the biggest mistake you can make with your RC in this army. Alright, so with the totem spells, I'm going to be using them just to help, take some damage off of my heroes and also the army. So if you use the totem spell, in front of all of your army, it's just going to get evaporated right away. So that's like not really what you want to do. But the second biggest use case for the totem is onto this long shot. Now, the biggest mistake you can make with that is not placing the totem in range where it stuns the long shot. So if you don't do that, all that's going to do is it's just going to make it so, you have all these high damage or heroes or anything else, all these defenses, just taking away the health, but that long shot is still going to be hitting the rest of your army. So you have to make sure to get that totem spell in range of the long shot, so it stuns it, retargets on, and then it stops targeting all of your army and all of the other heroes and all that. So that's going to be the end of this attack. Pretty good one, pretty fast again, under I think 245. So I had a decent amount of time left. But I'm just hop right in the next one and keep talking. So again, in this one, we're up against a very popular double rage base. Now, it's going to be important to know how to take this one down too, but if you can, follow along with the tips I've been giving throughout the video, you could probably think of, a very straightaway way to take this one down. And of course, that's sending in your Warden to firebolt one of those rage towers. Now, in this case, I don't really care about those double infernos, but I would much rather get down the minion prince area, the, to get my army away from that giant bomb. So being able to send the Warden in on that side and, try and route around that area is definitely going to be a big help. So here, on this one, again, I think I've used a ice block. Yep. So I think I had a few seconds left until I didn't need the ice block, but it didn't really matter. Now on this one, I didn't get all of the value from that compartment, but I only missed one of those. So really, easy and quick fireball. However, I do let my Warden die, and I would say that's maybe even worse than letting all your healers die, just because, he has that rage gem, so it just slows down the attack by so much. However, I really recover here, and just because, this army just way too strong, especially if you're using that overgrowth correctly, it just makes it so powerful. Now again, you can see King on the outside really helps to funnel in my army towards that middle, and I do, use some invisibility because I had 2 of them left from that fireball, so that really is, helping to move this, much more quickly and protect all my troops from getting killed. Now I use that overgrowth on the back end just so I can have that monolith stop hitting me, and that fire spitter since it's all the way in the back, so that would be the last one I'm taking out. Now that RC ability was really able to take out all of those raged up defenses. Now with your RC ability, you're going to want to use her when she's starting to get ahead of your army, just so she stays behind a bit more and then is able to deal damage onto the with the rocket spear in front of the army, and she's not being being the tank for the army. Instead, she's getting tanked for. The other area we're going to want to use the RC ability is, once you get into the middle of the base. So in the middle of the base, your army is going to maybe start splitting up a little. So using the RC ability is going to help wait until the back end is going to be the main push. So then your army's moving back together, and then your RC isn't on one side by herself with less troops to tank for her. So again, insane recovery on this one, especially with letting your Warden die. That's like the number one mistake. So being able to, swag a spell still, that's pretty good, and a very quick attack again. So that I'm going to do one more replay for you guys, and that's going to be it for this video. So in this one, we're up against a very popular base. Now, I've probably seen this one maybe like half a dozen times within the past 3 days, so definitely important to know how to take this one down. Now, you're not going to send your Warden in on this side, onto the corner of the base, but instead the side of the base. Now, on his entry, you're going to want to use, depending on what you prefer. I like to use the totem spell, but you can use a rage spell just to move in a little faster and take down all these defenses. But also that would help, heal your Warden up faster and protect him. But the totem spell definitely gets the job done. You just have to make sure to, have it in range to stun the Expo to retarget it, like I was talking about before. But also, you don't want it to be in range of too many defenses. Like if you place it on top, then everything in here is going to start targeting it. So that's not really what you want to do because it's going to go down so fast. Now here, this is a really good example of what I was talking about with the Sneezy. So if you were to use the Sneezy here, you would probably have to use an ice block. But here, the Rage Jelly really helps to make sure that the warden gets stuck on these garbage buildings, and then you can just launch it without a ice block being used. Now again, use 2 of them to drag your warden in, then set the funnel with 2, and then send your queen in right in between everything. And then king, again, all the way on the left. Now my king does die a little early here, but, you know, definitely he got really good value with his spiky ball. All right, so everything's starting to move in. Now, I do have to watch out for this fire spitter. Now, a lot of the time you can use a fire spitter, a totem spell on the fire spitter to redirect it. However, since I was so close, I really didn't, care, just because it was going down so easily. Now here, I have the clan castle pulled out, and a trick I use is dropping a totem spell, especially when my warden is very close to that clan castle, because the totem spell will redirect all of the clan castle troops. So in this case, with those rocket balloons, I can redirect them all away from my army and warden, and I'm going to really save a lot of the health for my troops. Now here, I have so much left, and the space is completely gone. I have still the ice block. Now, with that ice block here, I'm going to use it just so I can let the rest of my army move up, and then I'm going to have all of them tank. But that's going to be the main use case for that ice block on the back end. If you have some Meteor Golems pushing through and your heroes are still slacking behind, especially that queen getting stuck on a wall, you're going to want to use that ice block on a few of them in the front, just so they can start tanking while everything moves up. And then it's going to just make the back end so much easier when you have all your troops working at once and not just, one troop dying at a time. But I do swag my queen ability here, so really good attack and on a very popular base. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. Now if you want to see more of these videos in the future, remember to subscribe and leave a like on this one. And as always, I will be posting the army link in the comments. And this army has just done so well for me, so definitely go ahead and give it a try at least for one day in Legends, and I will see you guys in the next one.